Konnichiwa.
Howdy, y'all.
I'm Leslie.
I'm Laurie. Welcome to
Sumo Kaboom.
Sumo Kaboom.
Where we talk about all things sumo.
Yes, and today we are talking about days 4 through 10 of the November basho, which I don't know about you, but I'm loving.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When am I going to not love sumo? But I love sumo.
Yeah, and this one's a really great basho. But before we get into our favorite fights of the day, we do have a bingo game going. As of recording, we don't have any bingos yet. And there are some kachikoshis and some makikoshis, but nobody's got a bingo yet.
That's right. So if you haven't gotten your card, maybe there's one or two left. Not sure.
Yeah, I haven't checked. There might be some left.
But get your pens and pencils ready or your stamps ready because it's about to happen here soon.
That's
so
right.
Get on it. Get prepared.
In the meantime, I'm going to share some haikus that we got from listeners. This one's from our raffle winner, who wrote, "Bingo, each basho. Too slow until the raffle. Now I have the jam." This one's from Hannah, and I went ahead and I threw one of your jars of jam into the raffle box with her. And so she said, "Boy, I've never been able to win it through bingo, but it's great that it's in the raffle." Hannah sent us a really great photo of her with some of her prizes, which we'll share online. Congratulations again.
That's right.
And I have another haiku. This one's from Laura. And she wrote, "A kitten fluffs his fur. A tiger sinks his claws in. Kotozakura."
Kotozakura. I say that like that because I can still hear that woman behind us at the last basho that we were at. It was amazing. It was amazing the way she said it.
You're haunting our dreams.
You're haunting our dreams. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hop into a news flash. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but a much skinnier Takakeisho has been roaming around town in his blue suit. Does not look 100% happy, but I have been able to see a few smiles in the last few days. But he and Aoyama were NHK commentators this week, so I have no idea what they were saying because I don't speak Japanese. He has also lost 4 to 5 kilos because he said he could stop weight training and so he could finally stop eating training because he lost muscle. He said, "I didn't have to force myself to eat anymore." So everyone's saying his expression looks a little calmer, a little gentler. And he said, yeah, when I was active, I had to force myself to eat. But now that I'm done as a fighter, I want to enjoy life. So I thought that was good.
He looks well.
He's got
a lovely smile. It's very cherubic.
Yeah. He's got a great set of teeth, too.
Who
knew? He's got a great smile under there.
Yeah,
we just have never seen it.
You can see why all the ladies are like, "Ooh, hello.
Takakeisho."
Yeah,
well, he's fine. He's got himself a model wife, so... Anyway, did you know, we're probably not going to talk that much about Bushozan, but he was out on day 7 with hand, foot, mouth disease.
Isn't that what horses get?
And toddlers. I thought, what is hand, foot, mouth disease? I always hear about like people getting it like in the sandbox or is that worms or whatever?
That makes sense. I mean, people's feet are on the clay and then
I don't know where he picked it up. I don't know.
You touch your eye or your mouth or your nose. I could get it.
All that to say, he's in severe pain.
Where?
He's got rashes all over his body and he's out for the rest of the run.
Oh, all over his body.
Yeah. He can barely walk.
Oh,
so
God.
It's like not just like a slight case of it. It's like a major case.
Wait, I need to look this up right now.
Let's look it up.
What's the official title of it?
Hand, foot, mouth disease?
Mild, contagious viral infection common in young children. Symptoms include sores in the mouth and a rash on the hands and the feet. Well, hold on. You get it person to person. Oh, common in childcare settings.
Well, that makes sense because how many babies are these guys handed to hold? It kind of actually makes sense if it's a viral thing and if your immune system is kind of down and all they do is pick up babies and hold babies all day, every day, it would be easy to catch it, I would think, in that atmosphere.
Wow. Yeah, this says it's not usually serious, but it's very contagious. And you get it like 3 to 5 days after you come in contact with it. Really common illness. Interesting. But there's no treatment for it. You just get better on your own, maybe with a little bit of aspirin. That is interesting. Fever, sore throat, painful mouth sores that blister, rash on hands and feet. Oh,
Well,
see, now I'm
which
in the
would
rabbit
make-
hole and I'm looking at pictures of this
Well,
disease.
watch out.
and-
Your algorithm's going to be jacked up from here
yeah,
on out.
I know, but oh my God, if this is what the bottom of his feet looks like,
Yeah,
no
how could he
wonder-
wrestle?
Yeah,
He-
that looks
yeah.
really painful.
How could he wrestle? Yeah. So that's probably why he can't walk
Yeah, some sick person sneezed or coughed.
or shoved their sweet baby in his face that had
Yeah.
hand, foot, mouth disease.
All right, y'all, wash your hands often.
We're going to wish Busho's on well because I'm sure he's listening. Sorry about that, buddy. That's a rough one.
That is a rough one.
But he'll be back. I guess, ending on that note of newsflash, I guess it's time to talk about sumo.
Okay, let's do, because day 4 was, all of these days have been really, really fabulous. I remember you talking about Hakuoho's new hairstyle and the fact that he finally got his little ginkgo leaf. So, of course, that's all I could look at on day 4 because he came up from Juryo. And that is a small ginkgo leaf.
It is.
Like,
it's
size
T9. It's
is
T9.
small size.
But he's got, at least he has it. Size does not matter. It's what you do with it. And did he win?
I didn't even write.
I think he won on day. I think
There
he
you
won
go.
on his debut.
There you go. Okay, day 4. I just want to mention that I really enjoyed Ichi Yamamoto versus Takara Fuji on day 4, simply because of its unusual ending. Ichi Yamamoto pushed Takara Fuji all the way back to the males, and Takara Fuji, with one final beautiful maneuver, thrust down, and then he spun all the way around, 360 degrees, all at once, making Ichi Yamamoto fall flat to the ground. Poof! I enjoyed the flare finish of it.
Yeah.
Because Takara Fuji is usually not one to include anything like that. And I think it happened on accident. So I just enjoyed the Takara Fuji flare while I could. It might be the only time that I can say the Takara Fuji flare.
Right.
That's why I wanted to mention it.
It was flashy.
Kirishima Sai
Sigh.
lost to Wakamoto Haru.
Sigh.
Yeah, or a different kind of sigh. Sigh. When Wakamoto Haru grabbed an arm and manhandled Kirishima right on out. Kirishima, safe to say, is not having the best start to this
I feel like
basho.
he has performance anxiety, which I understand, but like he practices so hard, he has so much skill, and then all of the losses kind of stack up, and then I think he just second guesses himself.
I do not know why.
I don't know.
But I don't like
He
seeing
can't
him
find his
start.
rhythm. I know.
I don't like seeing him start like this. And on day 4, he had not found a win yet.
Right.
It was 0-4, and it was kind of like, oh God, not only are you not going to get to Ozeki, but this is turning worse by the match.
Yeah.
But my favorite 3 fights of the day I'm going to mention, one was Abi versus Onosato, and this one got me very, very excited because Abi, when he is on, and he is just a chaos agent.
Yeah, looking great.
And if you remember, in the last basho, the only 2 people that beat Onosato were Wakataka Kage and Abi. So I was looking forward to this one, and at the tachiai, Abi rocked Onosato's neck way up and back, and then quickly moved to the side, making Onosato off balance. And with him off balance, Abi used a beltless arm throw to win definitively. I would call that a solid win for Abi. And it kind of surprised me. It's sad to say, but I did not expect Abi to be able to do that twice in a row with Onosato, but it did. I loved it. Hoshoryu made a wonderful pink snack out of Ura with an uwatanage that pulled Ura backwards and down. It was a quick and a solid win. So many people have trouble with Ura because he's so low, so fast, so quick, but Hoshoryu got the belt grip that he wanted immediately and finished him off quickly. And saying that, I wanna share, we had a listener, Sarah. Remember how last time you were talking about how Hoshoryu's favorite movie is Harry Potter?
Mm-hmm.
He said that in an interview.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah got to work with AI, and she was like, what sort of sumo spells could he be using? What sort of wandless sumo spells could he be using? And she sent me the most wonderful list of sumo spells. So I think possibly he was using the Powerous Explodicus spell in this one, which unleashes a burst of incredible power, allowing Hoshoryu to execute decisive pushes and throws. So I think that is the wandless spell.
Yes,
that
absolutely.
Hoshoryu was using against Ura. Kotozakura versus Wakataka Kage on day 4. I had forgotten that this was the guy that Wakataka Kage was fighting when he hurt his knee the first time. And I just cannot even imagine the mental toughness it must take to face him again after spending so much time just getting his knee and a sumo back into shape. And that, like, the mental fortitude of that is extraordinary. So it kind of makes sense that Kotozakura wrapped up Wakataka Kage quickly. He grabbed Wakataka Kage's arms and just smothered him like gravy smothering biscuits.
Yeah, he couldn't. Yeah, I wrote that too, smothered. He could not find a way to grab onto Kotozakura.
Yeah,
which I know is the case. Most of the guys mention that, like, Kotozakura is like this blob that's really strong, but like you cannot grip him easily. His body is such that it's a weird shape or something about it that is like just not easy to grab a hold of.
Maybe rather than gravy smothering biscuits, it's soft, doughy biscuits smothering sizzling bacon.
Yeah, maybe.
Something like that.
That fits. That fits.
But Kotozakura walked away with that win, and Wakataka Kage got major credibility in my mind for facing that yet again and walking away this time unscathed, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Those were my highlights from day 4. Do you have anything you want to add?
I like on day 4 that Shodai won and attacked Hira de Umi, and I was like, who is this Shodai?
Yeah.
And afterwards he had this like cockiness and head tilt afterwards that I just love to see. And I've seen that a couple of days where Shodai won, and then there's other days where Shodai doesn't. But I like the Shodai meter. Like, how's he feeling today? Is he feeling sassy? And that was like a fun one because Hira de Umi is not easy. Although this tournament he is turning out to be easier to beat than before. But
he's got a harder slate.
Yeah, he's got a much harder slate. But I like that Shodai was like, and that's how it's done. Day 5. Let's chat quick about little Shishi, who came up from the Juryo ranks and is making his debut. Him up against Ruden on day 5 was so much fun because Shishi was trying some belt work here. No pushes really. Up top, Ryuden can't really do much with a very bottom heavy Shishi. And what I thought was hilarious is I think Murray, whoever was the commentator that day, said that there is a very specific name for bottom heavy wrestlers.
Really? What was it?
I can't remember. It's a Japanese word. But I was like, that's hilarious that they actually have a name for bottom heavy. I mean, we do. It's bottom heavy. But there was like a very specific name. But anyway, Ruden struggled to finish him off, even with the advantage of years more of belt work under his literal belt. In the end, Shishi resisted well, again, on his tiptoes. This is the fight that, like, he was up on his tiptoes, holding on for dear life. Ruden still nudged him over the edge, but you got to love Shishi's massive effort up against the rails. Mm-hmm. He was hanging on by his tippy toes, and Ruden just had the belt grip, and it was not easy, but he did lift him up over the edge. But it was an epic battle from start to finish, and I love the tippy toe effort.
Yeah, me too. And if anybody knows the term for that, for the bottom heavy sumo wrestler in Japanese, please let us know.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Koto Shouho versus Tobizaru. As expected, lots of distance and slaps from Tobizaru. Koto Shouho matches his energy, and they both sort of like move like boxers around the ring. Tobizaru wears Koto Shouho down. He gets inside deep on the left and gets gripped on the back of Koto Shouho's belt. He waits and Koto Shouho tries to step out of the grip, but he's got to throw Tobizaru. But Tobizaru stayed grounded and denied the throw and let Koto Shouho fall on himself. Koto Shouho had tried throughout this whole match to lift up on Tobizaru, but he just wouldn't budge. So it was a Kotonage win for Tobizaru and a bloody nose for Koto Shouho.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Abi versus Chura no Umi. This was such a huge tachi from Abi. It sent Churo back and to the edge. Abi followed with a huge long arm attack, and he charged right over Chura no Umi. I only mention that because this is a storyline. Abi has got some fire, and he's turning on that extra energy for this basho.
Yeah, agree. I wrote the same thing. Abi is on fire.
Mm-hmm. Wakamoto Haru versus Hirada Umi, another storyline. I only mention this because, well, we have a huge tachi that sent the other guy reeling backwards and unable to recover. And that was actually Hirada Umi. Wakamoto Haru had no answer. But again, I mention this because Hirada Umi is, at this point, 0 wins.
So this was his first
This
win?
was his very first win.
Got it.
And another storyline of what's happening to Hirada Umi this tournament. So that's a storyline we're going to continue to watch. Kirishima also 0-4 up against Oho. This was another tough loss for Kirishima. He fought so hard and slapped and pushed, but Oho withstood it all. And, Kirishima had a couple of good opportunities to get the belt grab on Oho in a vulnerable moment, but he couldn't make it happen. Kirishima, in a final attempt and probably with some frustration, tried to attack drive with thrusts back on Oho, but then it ended up that Oho then just yanked his hands and Kirishima goes stumbling and tries to push on Oho as he's stumbling, but he actually hit the dirt. And it's 5 straight losses for Kirishima.
Yeah, I don't understand it because his pushes, they didn't seem to move Oho at all.
That's what I think. There's something in that frustration that he just is like, oh, I'll try this. I'll try this. Oh, it's not working. I'll try this. And then he gets desperate and he needs to calm down and stay calm and watchful. And I'm surprised that it's Oho that he couldn't finish off. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, Oho is a big, solid foe, but I don't know what goes wrong. I don't know if it's the neck injury or what, but it's like his feet stop being grounded. It's like you got to find the balance as a sumo wrestler between being fast and being grounded.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do both, which is so hard. And it's as if Kirishima has or can occasionally just be like, okay, I'm just going to go with the speed. I'm going to be all over the place. But then he gets really easy to take down at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's the martial art of it. That's so interesting and intriguing to me that I don't understand, but it's fascinating to watch it not go well.
Yep. Moving on, Atami Fuji versus Onosato. Onosato and Atami Fuji, they hit hard at the tachi. Both have some really nice offense and some really nice defense, but in the end, it was Onosato's ability to drive Atami Fuji upwards and get that belt grab on the right side and drive him back and out. So Atami Fuji was 4-0. This gave him his first loss, and Onosato is sitting at 4-1, I believe. And then the last bout of the day I want to talk about is Wakataka Kage versus Hoshoryu. This was the best bout of the day.
Agreed.
Just for the drama of it all.
Agreed.
Post Tachiai, Hoshoryu gets a right arm grab on Wakataka Kage's left arm. It's a Kotonage grip. He's already in a sideways position to pull a throw. But Wakataka Kage is deep into Hoshoryu's chest and is trying to stay heavy and grounded, but he can't. Wakataka Kage gets a deep grip grab on Hoshoryu so quick with his thinking. Hoshoryu knows this though, and he goes, uh-oh, okay, now's the time to throw or else I'm toast. And that's exactly what he did. Wakataka Kage got flipped like a pancake.
Yep.
Hoshoryu got inside and drove, swung out with that Kotenage hold, and swung Wakataka Kage backwards with the help of his back leg, also lifting up on Wakataka Kage's leg. And somehow, with all that momentum, flipped the hell out of him. And then afterwards, Hoshoryu was like, what? No big deal. I can do this any day.
It's because he used this spell, Grippendo.
Yes, Grippendo.
Which strengthens your grip, ensuring a firm hold on your opponent's Mawashi during practice sessions.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
So day 4 was a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I always love Hoshoryu and Wakataka Kage fighting. I had forgotten how much I missed it.
Yeah.
Day 6. Onokatsu easily pushed out Juryo's visiting Kaio from the very first moment, taking him to 6-0. Much better start this time in the top division. Onokatsu, this is what we wanted from you last time you were up here. It's just great to see Onokatsu find his rhythm up here in the top division. Mitakeumi beautifully slipped to the side at the edge of the ring to get a win against Kota Shoho, but he crash landed with a thud directly on his left hip and shoulder and did not get up.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they took him out on a stretcher.
I know. That was worrying me. Like,
never good to see the stretcher come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, initially I thought...
Wheelchair, okay. Stretcher, uh-oh.
Oh, wheelchair isn't even okay by me, but stretcher is worse.
Yeah.
But I thought initially, oh, did he break his pelvis?
Yeah, I thought something was wrong with his spine, and that's why I freaked out. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Yeah,
this is
low
no
back,
good.
pelvis. It did not look good. It was a beautiful win, but boy, what a cost. On the same day, Ura versus Oho was absolutely a highlight match for me.
Yeah. Ura for the win.
I love watching Ura go left and right and move in and move out, while Oho tried to keep him at bay with these really long arms. And after a few seconds, Ura just quickly ducked right underneath Oho's arms at the edge, slipped around Oho's body. Quickly, he grabbed Oho's thigh and then changed his mind and just pushed big ol' Oho from the side.
It was
the win.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was just really fun.
I love Ura when he does his trickery and it works.
Yep. We got another match from Kirishima with his feet all over the place, not seeming to be grounded at all, although he did get his first win on day 6, this time against Hira Daumi, and he twisted his ankle.
Yeah,
as he won.
He tweaked it.
Yeah.
But, Hira Daumi is also not having a really solid basho, so I don't know. It was like 2 guys who are off their game, and Kirishima's less off his game, but that little ankle tweak at the end was like, oh, that's certainly not going to help.
Yeah, not going to help. 2 more fights that I loved on day 6. We were treated to an absolute photo finish with the Atami Fuji Hoshoryu match.
Yeah.
They pushed each other, as you do, in
As
sumo.
you do.
And at the end of the fight, Atami Fuji had Hoshoryu on the edge, both of Hoshoryu's feet on the top of the Tawara. Let me see if I can describe this. Atami Fuji's hand was pushing against Hoshoryu to push him out, but Hoshoryu was standing there on the Tawara, and he grabbed Atami Fuji's hand and he pulled out of the ring super hard to keep himself in the ring and try to pull Atami Fuji out at the same time. So Atami Fuji stumbled forward. Atami Fuji's left foot stepped up on the Tawara too. And somehow Hoshoryu's left heel stayed on the Tawara. He lifted his right foot up into the air as he was falling, and Atami Fuji tipped forward, and they both fell backwards. It looked as though Hoshoryu fell out first. But on the slow-mo replay, which thank God they have it, you can see Atami Fuji's big toe touched the clay outside the ring as Hoshoryu was falling and holding that one leg off the ground as long as possible. And it was an incredible photo finish type move. It was called an Isamiyashi, which is a forward step out. And it's actually a losing technique by Atami Fuji.
Mm-hmm.
But it was one of those incredible at the edge maneuvers done by someone who knows exactly where they are in space and is using the other person's momentum to keep himself in and up off the ground just a half second longer, and
Yeah.
it worked. It was so pretty.
Clever.
Oh, so good. So the win went to Hoshoryu. And the final fight of the day did not disappoint either. We got Wakataka Kage versus Onosato. Remember,
I love this bout.
Wakataka Kage is another one that has beaten Onosato, beat him the last basho. And so again, I was wondering, okay, can he do it twice in a row? Well, that answer is a hell yes. He can do it twice in a row. Wakataka Kage got inside super fast. Onosato slapped him going backwards,
Mhm.
which is kind of not what they want Ozeki to do. Wakataka Kage's balance was so good that he did not fall. He followed immediately, drove forward fast, and took Onosato out so quickly.
Mhm.
And I just thought, man, there are so many reasons why wrestlers adore Wakataka Kage. He is small, but his technique is so good.
And he's quick too.
Oh,
He seizes these moments that I think everybody else kind of sleeps on. He is so good going inside, burying his head in the chest, and yeah, he's quick. He's so quick.
yeah. I was surprised to see a second loss so early in this basho for Onosato.
Yeah.
Very excited to see Wakataka Kage walk away with another win against Onosato. So I left day 6 being like, ooh, this is exciting.
Yeah, I have to say my Wakataka Kage excitement is back in full force. His energy and having him back is just like a dream come true. Day 7. I know we just talked about Onokatsu, but him versus Takeru Fuji, who I love to see back up and doing pretty good. I love this matchup. It's very straightforward, actually. Onokatsu gets his first loss today on day 7 when Takeru Fuji does a huge tachiai and immediately gets a push and then a double inside, drives with that left inside grip and rushes Onokatsu out. It was kind of like, whoa. Yeah, when the kid's on, Takeru Fuji is really, really strong and good. But yeah, Onokatsu, who is looking great, got his first loss. So, wah, wah. Somebody had to ruin it for him. Midori Fuji versus Tamawashi. Midori Fuji tried a sneaky henka. Thankfully, Tamawashi was watchful and didn't fall prey to it, and it was his 40th birthday present.
Yay!
Not a fun opponent, but he did it. So this was an epic no-to-wa from Tamawashi that finished Midori Fuji off. I thought he could have snapped his neck there, actually. I mean, it was a brutal neck grab. But that's what you do on your 40th birthday, and he got the win. So, yay.
Yay.
Now this one surprised me. Wakataka Kage versus Oshoma. Oshoma did a sneaky up top hit and shift, and Wakataka Kage could not center himself again. Oshoma just swatted him on the back and ushered him out. I was really surprised by this loss,
Me too.
but I think that as fast as Wakataka Kage is, this was just a momentary loss in concentration.
That's a nice
all.
way to think of it.
That's all.
Maybe Oshoma's really good.
I know, but I can't accept that. Wakamoto Haru, though, his brother versus Oho was really fun because we got some really big sumo from Wakamoto Haru. Oho was up too high, but he did get the left inside grab on Wakamoto Haru, but Wakamoto Haru did some really nice defense and had a left side grab and drove Oho back with epic strength. And Oho's a bigger kid. Oho just couldn't evade laterally and was over the bales, and it was really nice sumo from Wakamoto Haru. The match that I wanted, this was the most exciting match. The match between Daisho and Hiradoumi was what I titled the murder bout. Both men are capable of murder, or at least attempted murder in this match. It was huge Sapari attacks and harite. It was huge blasts to the neck and the chest of the other, and maybe it's just because like when you see it, Hiradoumi has such flexibility. He lets his head flop backwards at every thrust, so it just looks like he's about to lose his head, especially with Daisho throwing the punches. So Hiradoumi gets all this action from Daisho's pushes, but he just dives headfirst into the chest of Daisho with like a bull. Daisho then returns the favor with his own head and bull attack. But in the end, both had lots of movement and drive, hops all around the dojo, all kinds of repositioning. They attacked each other time and time again. Daisho won out eventually with a huge hop to the side and pull through and slap down to the back of Hiradoumi, who had so much energy on the attack. He just actually flew himself out of the dojo, trying to lunge that last hopeful split second at Daisho, but couldn't do it. He flew himself out and into the dirt. But this was just really fun bout, and both guys looked like they beat each other up, and I was there for it.
Yeah, it was like a thrusting masterclass.
Yeah, it was
pusher thrower,
violent.
pusher throwing, pusher thruster masterclass.
Yeah,
that's
like
what it was.
when people don't watch sumo and they're like, "Why do you like it?" I was like, well, this probably matches all the TikTok videos of random people on the street who fight each other, and then there's always somebody with like a video camera. Like, people want to watch it. This is kind of the sumo equivalent of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, last bout of the day I want to chat about. Abi versus Hoshoryu. Huge. Immediately getting pulled up with the nodowa and like a massive yank down is really what happened for Hoshoryu. He, in the process, got an eye scratched, but basically Abi was all on fire. He does have his own style of sumo. It is uniquely his, and he did it immediately up top, like I said, with that massive nodowa, massive yank down on Hoshoryu's neck, and it was so fast, so definitive. Hikiotoshi win for Abi.
Yeah, when Abi is on, he is just a chaos maker, and
Yes.
I am 100% behind it,
Yeah.
as long as he doesn't hurt someone.
Exactly. And it looks like he could. But that's all I got for day 7.
All right, that takes me to Nakabi, day 8. Another great day on day 8 for Onokatsu, who grabbed, pushed, and yorikiri'd Asakoryu right on out. So good job keeping Asakoryu right in front of you, Onokatsu. I like what I'm seeing. Just keep it up. Takeru Fuji, Oshidashi'd Ryuden.
Mm-hmm.
Ryuden tried to slip to the side, but Takeru Fuji followed with that just super inside stance where he snuggles in really, really fast and then puts an end to it quickly. And I watch him and I'm like, I want a fast snuggler in my life.
Yeah.
This is a really good quality. Someone who runs in and just snuggles you.
Yeah, he'd be good
like
with a
that.
bear hug.
Yes. Like I've met some people in my life who are like really quick to hug like that. And they like just run right in like you're the most important person in the world. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I am in for it, Takeru Fuji. He's at halfway point at Nakabi. He's in the big group that is second place right now. And I'm really excited to see
I like how you're
Takeru
using
Fuji.
Nakabi now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You know, I try to use these terms when I learn them.
Which is basically the
Halfway
day
through.
that they call halfway through.
Yeah. Takayasu won over Mitakayumi, and I just mentioned that because I just want to say, Mitakayumi, you don't have to show up. You really don't.
But
Your entire hip, your entire lower back is taped up.
I know, but I was like, praise be, I saw him, he's living, he's walking, I don't have to worry, because prior to this, I was just, each day, I was worried about him. Then when he came back, did he come back the next day?
Yeah.
He didn't even take a day off.
Yeah, you didn't
Came
mention
back-
it, but yeah.
No, he looked rough, but I was like, okay, well, maybe he's going to be okay.
Well, you can imagine how his fights are going.
Well,
So Takayasu won this one quite easily. And you really do get a sense that people are finding him and knowing what's happening.
Yeah.
So they're not
not
being
going full
mean
force.
about it. They're
Yeah.
just like, I've got you covered. Here we go. We're safely going to walk over the line here. I got to mention Takanosho because I haven't really mentioned him yet. He threw a sumo-sized wet blanket over Midori Fuji on day 8 right away.
it was very fast.
Yep.
Very easy.
But
Oshidashi.
it took him to 7-1.
Right.
And he's in this race for the basho.
Yeah, he's
now we're
7-1.
halfway through, and he's 7-1.
Mhm.
And I just have to mention that because his record, I mean, he has been sekewake before, but as of late, his records have been like really good or really bad.
I think it's
Right?
his
11-4
positioning.
or 4-11.
He's M6, so I really do think sometimes it's positioning and like who he fights in the very first week gets him going in the right direction. It's not immediately putting a Yokozuna in front of his face.
Well, last time he had a not so great basho, so it's time for him to have a good one,
Yeah.
and he is having it. And
Yes.
so I started to keep track of that on day 8.
He's just got the greatest smile.
He really does. Day 8 was a great day if you were a Waka brother. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Waka Takakage use the Kataskashi against Hiradoumi this time. Waka Takakage proved that he can win going backwards. He doesn't do it all that often. He can push, he can throw, he can snuggle in, and he can Kataskashi. So great job. After that, his brother took on Atami Fuji, and Atami Fuji drove him all the way across the ring, all the way to the edge. But then Wakamoto Haru got his favorite grip, left hand inside. That's all he needed, and he drove much larger Atami Fuji back and out. Always nice to see these brothers fight back to back.
I know, because everyone liked that he was giving him the power water afterwards because he
Yes.
won. Waka Takakage did. So they give each other a little sip and a little towel to wipe their ceremonial face
Yeah.
before the bout. So it was brother to brother, and everybody thought that was really neat, and I like that too.
Or stick the power paper up their nostrils
Yeah, if they're bleeding. Yeah.
if they're bleeding. Yeah, it's just really fun to see brothers fight that close together. It's great. It was day 8 overall was just a
And
solid
they had
day.
tied records, 5-3.
Oh, see, I didn't even realize
Yeah,
that.
they're both 5-3.
See, that's great. It was just a solid day of sumo all the way around. If I was in Japan and I had bought tickets to day 8, I would have been thrilled going home after this day of sumo. I would have seen so much wonderful sumo and would have thought, oh, what a great sport this is. It would have been a great introduction to sumo. You would have, if I had been there and had a ticket to day 8, I would have seen Shodai do some lovely work breaking the balance of Big Ol' Oho.
I love his cocky face afterwards. Again, I will never tire from Shodai's cocky face afterwards.
He just got right behind Oho, moved him out by Okuridashi. That's when you push somebody out from behind. Always fun to see that. Fun to see Shodai win. The bout of the day, in my opinion, lasted for about 45 seconds. This isn't the last one I'm going to tell you about, but it was super fun. It was Kotozakura versus Chura no Umi. And there were some huge slaps chest to chest from the beginning. There was a moment where it looked like both of them might fall out of the ring side by side, each trying to trip each other and falling forward. But then they worked their way back to the center of the ring. There was some belt jostling, and then Kotozakura stepped back, he twisted, and he just rolled down Chura no Umi with a really pretty Uwata Hineri. It was just beautiful. Sometimes you see these throws and they're just done perfectly. If I was there on day 8, I would have loved watching Onosato give Tobizaru absolutely no place to run, no exit, no way to escape the incoming wall of Onosato flesh.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Onosato went away with that win. And I would have absolutely adored watching Hoshoryu spin Oshoma and then flip him with a solid Uwatanage. This flip never, ever gets old.
Never. He's flipping pancakes on day 8. I never get tired of Hoshori flipping pancakes.
Yeah, you grab your opponent's pants, spin, pull them hard until their feet come off the ground. It's just...
And flip, and then maybe help with your back leg a little.
It's
but
just
he uses
gorgeous.
the momentum so well, and it just is delightful when it's so forceful and powerful.
Yeah, he is a momentum master. He really, really is. And so I'm going to go back to my spells. And perhaps perhaps he was using the wandless spell, Victoriam Majestus, which conjures a sense of victory and confidence, boosting morale and determination to claim the championship title, Victoriam Majestus. Or maybe he's going to save that one for later in the tournament. Maybe he was just using Focusus Intensus, which sharpens his concentration. Sarah, all of these charms that you sent me are just wonderful, and I'm having the best time watching Hoshoryu and then reading this list of sumo spells and wondering which one he was using. It's really great. So anyway, at the end of day 8, This is always when I start really watching the numbers, okay? There's 4 guys tied with 1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
Takanosho, Kotozakura, Hoshoryu, and Onokatsu. And there's 4 guys trailing now with 2 losses. Onosato Abi, Takara Fuji, and Takeru Fuji. So it's a nice block of 8 guys here at the top at the end of day 8.
Day 9. Day 9, I have so many notes. I'm going to try to skip over some of these, but I will say Toki Hayate had an unbelievably gorgeous Watanage over Ryuden. And Takeru Fuji has a really nice record after defeating Sadanaumi. He's at 7-2. Just reminding you that Takeru Fuji is sitting down there at the bottom of Maegashira ranks, and he's doing pretty good at 7-2. Now, Takanosho, who I adore, and now we all are like, could this be Takanosho's tournament? Him versus Roga. I am loving that Takanosho was able to so quickly defeat Roga. So up top, they tachiai. Takanosho goes for the Nodowa to pull down, like this pull down attempt, but Roga is grounded and his deep stance prevents him from that pull down, slap down attempt. But then Takanosho changes the game plan quickly, gets a quick inside right grip on Roga, and then he has the advantage. And Roga is also at the time getting a left outside grip. Takanosho knows he is vulnerable with that grip, so he decides to just rush forward and advance on Roga, who is now moving back. Even with his left outside grip, he can't do much. Takanosho abandons the grip, goes double inside, lifts up, and lays out Roga with a Tsuki Otoshi thrust down maneuver on Roga's upper body, and Takanosho is sitting at 8-1.
Got his Kachi Koshi, stayed in the lead.
Yes, and I love that. Then we have Tobizaru versus Ura. Then we have Tobizaru versus Ura. This was a hilarious bout of 2 men being in such deep stances for most of the bout. Tobizaru is completely unable to lift up on Ura, who is very, very deep, which is not a surprise. Eventually, Ura drives to advance on Tobizaru. Tobizaru escapes. They separate, and then they kind of look at each other and trying to figure out what to do. And Tobizaru has his hands out, like, I might slap you, but I might be boxing. But anyway, Tobizaru decides to swing a huge slap to the left arm of Ura, who I guess was using that arm to sort of distance and stabilize himself for a moment on Tobizaru. So now he's kind of rattled, because after that, Ura is sort of stumbling, and then he gets easily swatted around, so his backside is now showing, and then from there it was a simple push out from Tobizaru, and Ura is toast. But anyway, I like to see these guys fight because they're both kind of exciting. Wakataka Kage versus Shodai. We had a weird 2 mata start. We've had a lot of weird 2 or 3 mata starts coming into day 8, 9, 10. They couldn't align themselves, these 2 guys. The head shimpan called the first one, which is not normally the case. The gyoji called the second one. And the third tachiai finally worked. Wakataka Kage had a fast tachiai, got inside on the right-hand side, and drove. Shodai was typically up too high and slow. So he tried the over-the-top kimidashi approach, but was easily moved back out and fast by Wakataka Kage. So he got the yorikiri win, and he's sitting at 6-3, which ain't too bad.
You know what I noticed?
What?
Wakataka Kage, when he finally won that bout, he's shuffling forward and he's in a deep second position, shuffling forward in second position. And
ballet position, you mean?
Yeah. Second squat, like sumo squat, shuffling forward. And I just thought, how does that work? The knees don't really bend like that. Like, that's just, it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, I guess they do if you're a sumo wrestler.
Wow. Yeah, there's just some magic to it. And sometimes the camera angle is just right, where you just watch and go, that should be impossible.
Yes. Well, don't forget, Kirishima actually won up against Atami Fuji. It was desperate, but he did get the Oshidashi win over Atami Fuji. So that was like, okay, all right. Sometimes I have hope. But it's 3-6.
Well,
not great.
Yeah, and it was mostly due to Tuwara dancing.
Yes.
Which is okay.
And Kirishima's inability to finish somebody off at the edge, given all of the advantage, but hey, he did it.
But if your entire sumo is Tawada dancing.
Yeah, well, I know.
I don't know.
Anyway, Hoshoryu versus Churo no Umi. Hoshoryu does another lovely throw on a victim. This time it was Churo's. And I asked myself, when will these guys realize that Hoshoryu with a grip on your belt will equal a dynamic throw? It was a right hand outside grip, and that equaled a lovely Watanage with a little help from the back leg. And yeah, so one day they'll go to that dressing room and be like, y'all know that Hoshoryu has a really good throw. Yeah.
Wait, should we find out what spell he used?
Yes.
Let's say he used Charmus Craudium.
Oh, okay.
Which
yes.
captivates the audience, draws cheers and admiration as he enters the dojo or as he fights. Charmus Craudium.
Yes. Well, and he's 8-1, so the crowd's probably loving that.
Yep.
We have him at the top of the ranks, so I'm happy about that. Onosato had the advantage over Wakamoto Haru up top. The Tachiai, he was quickly inside and just swallowed up Wakamoto Haru, who was up high, being pulled up way too high and moving backwards. And he was unable to really evade left or right. So that was an easy peasy win for Onosato, sitting at 7-2. So we got a lot of guys.
Well, I think that was Wakamoto Haru, right?
Wakamoto Haru.
Yeah, he just needs to call his brother.
Yeah.
He just needs to pick up the phone.
Yeah, and be like,
say,
bro,
how are you doing
how
that?
did you do that?
Like, can we please meet? Like, can you show me how you're doing it? Because you've done it twice now, and I don't usually ask for your advice, but I need some advice this time.
Well, Waka Takakage is shorter, so that may be the advantage. Wakamoto, whoever, the other brother we're not talking about, Wakamoto Haru is a little taller, so that may play into his luck when it comes to, Onosato. But that's all I got for, what was that, day 9?
Yeah, that was day 9.
Oh, I forgot. Day 8, day 9, I don't know.
Yeah, that was day 9. So at the end of day 9, now we have 3 guys tied for first. Takanosho, Kotozakura, and Hoshoryu. And there's 5 guys trailing with a second loss.
Right.
All right? That brings us to a very exciting day 10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what to mention on day 10. We had a first meeting between Takeru Fuji and Meisei. It's always fun when you get first meetings because you just never really know what's going to happen. This time there was a big old blast and it took a few pushes, but Takeru Fuji pushed Meisei back with that huge old upper body of his, took one large push at the edge to win, and he won by Oshi Taoshi. So the push was so big that it knocked Meisei on his bum and back. So good job. But that got Takeru Fuji his Kachikoshi, which means he's still in that group in second place, which is exciting. Yeah. Super exciting. I really liked how they did an interview with Takeru Fuji after his win, and he had blood on his face from that win, but then he was very calmly speaking about making fans happy and how he's not thinking about taking the Yusho, but he's just thinking about doing his own brand of sumo and making the fans happy, just completely covered in blood. And I was like, this really is a gladiator type sport. It really is. Mitakeumi completely rallied, grimacing, breathing heavily. I don't know what he was reaching for.
Well, Takeru Fuji also looked a bit sluggish and injured too.
No, Takeru Fuji has a really good record right now, but he blocked Takeru Fuji's arm, and then Mitakeumi just moved forward for the win. And I don't know, oftentimes this sport just makes me shake my head and go, I don't know what these men are made of. I really don't. And this is one of those moments where I was like, if my back was hurting, the last thing I would do is sumo. And here he is doing sumo, all taped up, and he got a win. So I'm gonna stand up and give the man a standing ovation. Takanosho took on Onokatsu this time, and as I would expect with Takanosho's run right now, he slapped down Onokatsu pretty immediately, which keeps him on the leaderboard. Yeah. I'm going to mention 2 more fights on day 10 that were a favorite. Oho versus Wakatakakage. At the edge.
This was so fun.
They were both wrapped up. They both went out at the exact same time when Oho, looked like he was really the aggressor and was going to push Wakataka Kage out. But Wakataka Kage tried an uchari right at the edge where you pick up your opponent and you spin. Now, what happened is it was judged that they went out at the exact same time. And when you watch the slow-mo, you really can tell. Yeah, it is exactly at the same moment
time,
that they went out. So, lucky for us, we got a twofer from these guys.
Tori Naoshi.
And the second time, Wakataka Kage slipped to the side right at the edge, leaving Oho kind of reeling forward with both arms flailing wide. And Wakataka Kage slipped behind and pushed pew, with his really tiny little push. Pew, didn't need very much because Oho was off balance, and Wakataka Kage walked off with that win. Just really fun sumo. I never tire of watching that man do sumo. Kirishima did win on day 10, which is great. He won by a henka, which isn't our favorite, but if you need the wins, you need the wins.
Yeah.
So I understand why he did it. The other one I'm going to mention, Big D, Daieisho versus Onosato. In the beginning, I think everybody expected Onosato to win this.
Mm-hmm.
Higher ranked, bigger guy, but you just cannot discount Big D. You really can't.
You cannot.
There was an explosive tachiai, as you would expect from these two, and Onosato pushed Daieisho back, and Daieisho got a belt grip. He got a double inside belt grip.
I know.
On
Daieisho on the belt.
Larger Onosato. And Daieisho is a pusher thruster. He's not a belt guy. So when this happened, there was a second or two there where I thought, okay, well, now what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Because Daieisho isn't particularly strong on the belt. Well, boy, was I wrong, because Daieisho had great belt position, and all he did was walk forward and muscle Onosato out with a Yori Kiri win.
Yes.
I have heard so many people talk about, well, I won't say so many, but I have read occasionally and heard some people say that Onosato's weakness is that he flares his elbows, and that allows people to get inside on him. And this, I'm seeing more of it this basho.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I'm knowing what to look for, but you can see when he flares his elbows, it does allow people to get inside on that belt, and it gives them great belt position. And this was just one of those great example matches where you could see it play out.
Yep.
Huge kudos to Big D for this win. That meant Onosato, that's his third loss.
Yeah.
So that takes him pretty much off the leaderboard.
Right.
Which is exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are tied up. The top 6 guys are up there. It's anybody's show.
Well, one more I want to mention, because the man is on fire. Hoshoryu versus Kota Shoho. I kind of expected it to go this way, but it was just sort of an awkward, exciting way of winning. Hoshoryu squeezed Kota Shoho, got a Yorikiri, locked him up, and looked strong. Just looked super strong. That's, I mean, I could explain that a lot better, but just know that Hoshoryu won, and he looks amazing. At the end, and there was also Kotozakura versus Tobizaro. Kotozakura won that one. I'm just not going to break it down, because the important thing is, at the end of day 10, 3 guys in the lead. Takanosho.
Yes.
Having maybe the best tournament of his life.
I'm
sitting
here
at
for
9-1.
it. I'm here for it.
Hoshoryu, who has one Yusho win to his name, sitting at 9-1 and looking powerful and explosive. And Kotozakura, also with 9-1, who doesn't have a basho win to his name, but if you look at his record, he just continues to improve. And looking at this year for Kotozakura, okay, last tournament he got 8-7, but before that he got 10-5, before that 11-4 Jun Yusho, before that 10-5, all of that at Ozeki, before that 13-2. So he's had double digits for the past year, except for September. So he's been going strong.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to think of him getting his first Yusho.
Yes.
Super exciting to think of Hoshoryu getting his second Yusho.
Yes.
I'm not including Takanosho in that list. Do you think he could do it?
I don't know. I think
It would be a big ask.
it would, but I would love it.
If you look at his past year, okay, last tournament, he was 4-11, not great. But the one before that, 12-3.
Yeah,
And he was a runner-up.
flip-flops.
And then 8-7, 5-10, 10-5. So it's just a crapshoot with Takanosho. You just
Right.
don't know. Can he do double digits? Or is it just going to stop? I don't know. So I wouldn't expect him to win this. I would expect it to be between Hoshoryu and Kotozakura. But
We've still got 4 more days
I
to
know.
go, so a lot can happen in 4 days.
it is. But anyway, we've got those 3 guys tied at 9-1, and we have 2 men trailing now at 8-2. Abi,
Mm-hmm.
the Chaos Machine, and Takeru Fuji.
Yeah.
Also an exciting proposition.
Yep.
He could win this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Onosato, nowhere in that mix.
Well, he's 1 behind.
I know, but nowhere in the top 5.
Yeah, that's true.
Nowhere in
That's
the top
true.
5. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Who do you think it'll be?
I don't know. I don't like to predict these things because I don't want to put the energy out into the world. I'm just
Okay.
going to wait for it to come to me.
We've learned with our Takayasu predictions to
yeah,
just hold our
I
cards
just
close
can't.
to our
It
chest.
just hurts too bad when it doesn't happen. So, wow. Okay. Well, then, is that it for
That-
days 4 to 10?
Yeah, I cannot wait to see how this ends.
All right. We'll be back at you next week, I imagine, with our U Show winner and our bingo winners. So make sure and pay attention to those cards. It's going to come soon. And we will chat at you next week. Until then, I'm Leslie.
Laurie, bye.
Bye.